Oh, really? So it's confirmed, huh? Ho, 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 ho. All right.
Today we have some official confirmations about some crazy plot points coming up in Deadpool 3, but the
Okay.
craziest thing about this all is the confirmation is coming directly from Marvel. Now it looks like it might have been a mistake and they did not intend to reveal this yet, but of course it's the internet. Once
Uh-huh.
it's on there forever. And today we're going to break it down and get you more excited for Deadpool and Wolverine. If you thought it was going to be crazy, you're right. Because not only is Deadpool and Wolverine a big multiversal movie where they're going to explore universes that we haven't seen before, but they're also going to explore universes that we are very familiar with, like our main MCU timeline. In fact, it
Okay.
sounds like they're going to be tampering with some events of the main MCU timeline that everybody knows and everybody loves, but they're going to be putting a Deadpool and Wolverine twist to it. I did a video about this before, predicting that Deadpool and Wolverine were going to essentially rewrite some events of the MCU. And it seems like we basically have a confirmation of that.
Makes me wonder if that's how Robert Downey Jr. and Scarlett Johansson are going to come back. I'd be fine with them not staying dead. I'm fine with that because as long as you write it right, I'm good. Also, it happens in the comic books all the time. Not everything that happens in the comic books is a good thing. However, it's been happening for years. Characters die, they come back, they die, they come back. It's a trope. It's a thing that happens in comics. It just is what it is, whether it's good or bad. But if you do it right, it can be a great thing. So I'm fine with that. Maybe what they'll do is they'll make sure that Black Panther doesn't pass away from that disease. They'll recast him and we'll get Black Panther back. Uh, yeah, maybe they'll somehow save Robert Downey Jr. Well, we'll see.
Day. Now this, we'll call it a report, not a leak, because again, this is coming directly from Marvel. So it's not exactly a leak, but more of a reveal. On the official Zazzle store for Marvel, the official account that Marvel runs, it is their account, so they are in charge of everything that goes on it, they put it on there themselves. When going to the About section about Deadpool and Wolverine,
Okay.
this is what it says. It gives us a ton of information. Check this out. The Time Variance Authority, or TVA, was established in Loki as a bureaucratic organization that preserves the sacred timeline and monitors multiversal anomalies. But does the TVA, even with its power to manipulate space and time, know what it's getting into when it recruits Wade Wilson, aka Deadpool? Following a long-established bromance with Wolverine, played by Hugh Jackman, Deadpool, played by Ryan Reynolds, is about to team up with the adamantium
Yeah, he has no bromance with him. He has a hate mance with him.
man. And not only will they be working to defeat a range of villains plaguing the Marvel Universe, Bub, but they'll be gate crashing the MCU franchise too, and putting their own R-rated 20th Century Fox style twist on some of our favorite moments from Phase 1 through 4. Expect to see a few cameos, along with some iconic costumes and personalized products in our officially licensed store for Deadpool and Wolverine below. Now there is a lot to talk about
Wow.
with what this just stated, but the first thing that I think about, the first thing that I
Yeah, they could be involved in anything. The snap, the Captain America Thanos fight, the war in Wakanda. There's so many scenes they could be involved in. Wow. This is going to be interesting.
thought about when I read this for the first time was Avengers Endgame, the giant
Yeah.
portal scene. It seems like Deadpool might insert himself into the events, into that big
Yeah.
moment in Avengers
You saw him
Endgame,
jumping
which
through it.
is a very Deadpool thing to do. If he now has access to the MCU, can insert himself anywhere at any point in time in the MCU, well, that would probably be the place that he would want to be, along with all of the other heroes in the most important time in the MCU's history. The only question is, what will Deadpool do? A lot of people have been theorizing for a very long time now, since pretty much right after Avengers Endgame, people have been theorizing that Deadpool could insert himself into the Avengers Endgame scene, and perhaps he is the one to snap. And if you think about it, that actually solves a lot of problems. Deadpool can heal and regenerate. Deadpool would not die from the snap. In fact, Deadpool and Wolverine could do both snaps, taking the place of Hulk and...
Well, I don't know about that now. Just because they can heal and regenerate, does that sub does that what's the word I'm looking for? Does that outdo the cosmic power of the gauntlet snap? Can a healing factor outdo that if they're one of the ones that's randomly picked to I don't know about that. That's interesting though.
Iron Man. And this could be one way that they rewrite the MCU. Now, having said that, I must issue a disclaimer here, a very important.
Oh, yeah, they could, they could snatch it from Robert Downey Jr.'s snap, I'm thinking they could heal from that. Yeah. Well, wait a minute. The Hulk has a healing factor too, though, and it didn't help him. Yeah, he had his hand in the sling. Interesting.
This will not undo what we actually saw happen in Avengers Endgame. This really won't affect the sacred timeline because all it will really do is create a branched timeline. So yes, we will see Deadpool and Wolverine rewrite some parts of MCU history, but fear not, based off of everything that we know, that will only create a branched timeline and not actually affect the main MCU timeline.
Yeah, we'll see what they do.
They were going to put an R-rated style on some of these MCU events. Now, some of you might recall this, but Robert Downey Jr. revealed this after Avengers Endgame that his final line in the movie, I am Iron Man, was almost actually F you, Thanos. That was almost his final line. Kevin Feige ultimately said no, and everybody pretty much ultimately decided that that wasn't a good direction to go.
Yeah, no. I trust me on that. No.
The very first Iron Man film, the start of the MCU, we have heard Tony Stark say,
I am Iron Man.
That was the start of the MCU. That was the start of Iron Man, so it would make a lot of sense, and it did make a lot of sense, to have his final words
thought the Hulk was the start of MCU.
Be also, I am Iron Man. So Deadpool can break the fourth wall, come in, do the snap, say F you Thanos, and then remind the audience that that's what they originally were going to say, but they couldn't and decided not to. But Deadpool, being rated R, can.
I could see him doing that. Him snatching the gauntlet from Thanos in some form or fashion. And, F you Thanos. I could see him doing that.
Deadpool-esque thing to say. Plus, I would really love to see Deadpool kind of geek out and then also at the same time make fun of all of the heroes that are there at the Avengers Endgame big portal scene. Now, we have heard before from some insiders that Deadpool and Wolverine will have their own big portal scene, which is another indicator that they probably will revisit the events of Avengers Endgame. Now, here's something that's really interesting that I really hope they do that fans might not know if you haven't read the comics. But Deadpool actually very, very much respects Captain America. He respects him so much that it kind of keeps his character in check. Like,
you saw him saluting him in that scene.
At one point in time, they were on the same Avengers team together, but there was a rule. Deadpool could not kill. And he agreed because Captain America wanted him on the team and he wanted to be with Captain America. But switch that around, Captain America actually respects Wade as well. You probably wouldn't think that. You probably would think that because of their morals, they crash and they conflict with each other, which of course they kind of do, but Cap still respects Deadpool for who he is, whereas most of the characters kind of treat Deadpool like a clown. Cap actually treats him like a real person and gives him respect because he kind of views him as like a fallen, broken soldier, which...
Let me tell you something. Watch Wolverine versus the Hulk, the cartoon movie that came out. Excellence, absolute excellence, and Deadpool in that is absolutely hilarious. To me, he's just as hilarious as Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool. I love that movie. It might be my favorite anime. It is. It's my favorite animated Marvel movie. Period.
he definitely himself knows a lot about. So I would personally really, really love for Deadpool to go back to some old Captain America movies. It would be cool to see him go back to Captain America, the First Avenger, or the Winter Soldier, since that's regarded as one of the greatest MCU movies of all time, but I also think it would be really cool to see him go back to Civil War. Since there are so many heroes in that, there could be a lot of cameos, whether that's just using the same footage from Civil War, or maybe there could have been one or two actors who reprised their role to do a new scene, who knows. But you can definitely see Deadpool asserting himself into that conflict, telling Steve and Tony to calm down. Don't fight, because ultimately this will go on to lead you all to be apart when Thanos comes. When he comes in Avengers Infinity War, and then of course all the events in Avengers Endgame. He could drastically change the course of that storyline if he kind of gets them to stay together, and they're all together when Infinity War happens, and they could all be together to take on Thanos and defeat him. Now of course, again, that would drastically alter that timeline, but again, that would be a branched timeline, not a big effect to the actual sacred timeline that we have seen up until this point.
We'll see what they do.
Which is why Deadpool and Wolverine is so great. They can actually go and change a bunch of things, and it kind of matters because those timelines could appear again in Secret Wars or another multiverse film. Like in Doctor Strange 3, if he goes to another universe, we could see variants from a universe that actually came to be because of Deadpool and Wolverine. So they can change things, and they could have an effect.
That is so grim that they're jumping out of his skull, man.
On the overall story, but at the same time, the main MCU sacred timeline that we hold sacred, all the movies and shows and events from phase 1 till now, they remain unchanged. And that's really the brilliance of Deadpool and Wolverine, and I bet that is what sold Kevin Feige on Deadpool and Wolverine returning. Hugh Jackman returning to play Wolverine. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, originally Kevin Feige, the president of Marvel Studios, told Hugh Jackman not to return as Wolverine. If you didn't hear about that, you can check out the video that I did completely about that so you can get up to date. But please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you can stay up to date on all the recent Marvel news. Be sure to let us know what you think about Deadpool and Wolverine changing events and doing a little R-rated spin to certain events that have happened during phase 1 through 4, and let us know what event.
Good job there. Good job there. Cosmic One there. That rhyme don't play the game bars. Get over there and subscribe. Tell them Tyrone Magnus sent you. This is very interesting. It's confirmed. They wrote it. It's on their website. This is going to be interesting. I'm even more excited now and curious to see what they do. 10 million subscribers. Woo, that rhyme.